Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om. 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 Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Hari Om to everybody. When we have been told by Mahatmas that when we take one step towards him, towards the indweller, he comes out 10 steps. During our satsang sessions now, when he facilitates so many things for us to dwell on his presence, through various forms he brings out in the form of some doubts or something to be clarified. But all the time we should know he facilitates us to dwell more and more on the subject. It is not that simply he makes us to dwell. Certain things have to be hammered, repeatedly hammered. So today we received an email from a devotee. We will just read out. Withdraw from the created world to the uncreated void. As you said, this aspirant cannot understand the instruction. Here it looks like what you said about space always there, with or without construction being built. Second point, grace for sure is there. I try to honor it, for I know it is your presence here and around. Yet it does not do because I fail in not being committed all the time, finding good excuses to go back with others and get involved with what is going on, even though basically knowledge is there. It is like being invested or pervaded by something I know to be vital. Third point, in actions, most of the time concentration perfection is there, but nothing else. I can see the mind blank. Another point, faith is there for sure. Trust is questioned with its relationship with surrender. Is it death? If yes, it is okay, but do not know how to totally surrender. Just know it is not about doing something. Love is there for sure, but not conscious all time. Only the feeling of Papa's mysterious power. Pride is so strong. Some questions, some more words are there. A few of them are answered. So when we receive such an email, we take it that the Guru within us is bringing out these through some forms so that we will apply more intensely on it. Withdrawal of the mind from the created world to the uncreated void. We feel that when we are carried away by the manifested part, the substratum, the base, is not recognized. For example, when we sit in a room, the walls, roof, furniture, fixtures are all recognized, but not the space. When we sit before the computer and look at the projections on the screen, we normally don't recognize the screen. When we walk, we hardly recognize the motionlessness of the earth. We are moving, Similarly, when we see the created world, the uncreated void is hardly recognized. A spiritual aspirant is expected to recognize both. Not merely the uncreated void, but to know the uncreated void, probably we may have to withdraw a little from the created world. When Papa says that if we don't link our life with the divine author of our being, our life is in vain. The divine author is the substratum, Sarvadhar. We are mostly carried away by the manifested part. Normally, when something is offered to drink, we only concentrate on the drink, coffee or tea or juice. Though the container has brought it, we hardly look at the container. Yeah. We have to think about it. So God is teaching us the substratum through everything that is available before us. In front of this laptop. It's all just like we don't recognize the breathing, that goes on. This is the truth which we don't recognize. As a spiritual aspirant, we are asked to recognize. What is expected of us to recognize both. The manifested part is also equally relevant. We cannot rule out. Even in the case of God realized souls, we have found that they come back to the individual level. a refined individual. They don't put the individual in the confines, or what you call the conceptual presence. In our case, we are we are a prisoner in our own created set presence. Me to me, There it is me to him. But at the same time, we the manifested part is there. Papa used to often mention as paraprakriti and aparaprakriti. All the manifested part we can say as aparaprakriti. And paraprakriti is the one who is the base. So withdrawal of the mind means we need not think it is only a withdrawal for the required time. In some case, it may be a few months, few years, few weeks. It depends upon their intensity. The equipment should cooperate. And withdrawal doesn't mean withdrawal forever. No. Papa's often quotation we should remember. Spirituality
cannot be applied in the daily life.
All we know that, no? Spirituality that cannot be applied in actual life is no spirituality. God is in the world and acting through every one of us. God realization does not mean disappearing into some unknown realm beyond the world. True spirituality consists in our living in this world, created world, moving in it, serving all beings, all the time being conscious of the divine within us, the uncreated void. Both, True spirituality consists in our living in this world, moving in it, serving all beings, that's the created world. All the time being conscious of the divine within us and everywhere about us, the uncreated void. So this is the approach Papa has given to us. Not to negate anything, but our approach to the manifestation will be different, totally different. You have to keep on thinking about it. But this is very important. The space in this room should be recognized. Otherwise, I'll be carried away only by the wall, the roof, the fixtures, the furniture, the people, other articles. All these are there only because the space is there. Normally, we may not. But as a spiritual aspirant, we are asked to recognize this. That is what we are all struggling. That is why we are chanting Ram Nam. Even when we chant Ram Nam, Papa brings it the same principle. The sound comes from the soundlessness. The sound that you hear is what comes out of that infinite silence. When we repeat the mantra aloud, we tune ourselves to the sound produced by it. And through the sound, very important, we enter into the perfect stillness within us. So the sound must possess us. The sound is the first movement of the motionless. So we are chanting Ram Nam to know the base from where the Ram Nam sound comes. Uncreated void. Second question about grace. We become aware of the grace when we get connected to the base. We become aware of the grace when we get connected to the base, B capital. It is because of grace alone that we become aware of His presence. I remember you, O Lord, because you remembered me first. That is why Papa used to make him bluntly, make a mention about it. Remembrance, darshan are synonyms of grace only. As regards concentration, when the whole souled attention is focused on anything that we do, it results in perfection or excellence, as no other dissimilar thoughts intrude then. No? All of us can go back to our own. No? We will know that when we are involved, whole soul, in a whole souled way, whether it is cooking, whether it is typing out, or whether we are handling a project, whether it is sweeping, whether it is washing the cloth, if it becomes whole souled, it becomes perfect. Excellence will be there. What happened then? It is not the. We cannot say the mind is blank. It is blank in the sense no other thoughts intrude. So we are not aware. The sense of agency is not there. It is there, but as it were, it is not there. The blankness of mind expressed by you could be due to the absence of the sense of agency in a focused activity. We become one with that activity, When we are deeply involved, suppose somebody brings a cup of coffee, which normally we take at that particular hour, we may not recognize it. Because our whole attention is. So no other thought gets intruded. And then, slowly, unknowingly, God is training us. That when the sense of agency is away for some time, excellence comes out. Whole souled, 100%. Faith, trust, and surrender. Faith, as we understand, is applicable at the primary stage. It is needed. Of the spiritual journey, this is the primary stage. However, during trying times, faith alone will not help much. Here, trust plays a crucial role. Trust is not merely a process of conceptualization at the mental level. It is handing over ourselves completely to the Lord, or submission to His will, by accepting everything that happens as for our ultimate good. That is a trust. Trust requires total surrender. And surrender is a natural graduation of a long-drawn process. Surrender is not something which we learn academically and then try to practice, then master it. No. It is a natural graduation when we start doing it. Because it is not possible, We may say 100 times. How many years we have been we have been repeating the universal prayer? I surrender myself unto Thee entirely, Not 1% have we surrendered. So surrender is not a thing which we can repeat and we can reach that stage. It is a natural process of graduation. By repeatedly bringing in the God dimension. Yesterday, as we said, even the letters we speak, through which ideas are conveyed, through which ideal is recognized, appreciated, through which practice and this thing goes on, all because of this language. And this language is a gift of Him. There are so many, anything, any innovation, any discovery, any invention. So this is very important. So trust requires total surrender, and surrender is a natural graduation of a long-drawn process. In one of her talks, Mataji makes us, so probably she would have done it only, she would have expressed in that way, only to make us realize, She used to say at times that probably my surrender is not total to Papa. When she was pestering Papa, that all who comes in contact with Papa should get realization. Papa used to simply leave it. When she was repeatedly asserting it, then one day he said, there is a process involved for anything. And he immediately said, if you want a child, one should become pregnant. There is a process. Similarly, to attain realization, there is a process. Then Mataji adds to us probably my surrender to him is not total. So Puja Swamiji questioned her, when you have identified with the whole union, why should you think in particular that we should get realization or not? When you say all are Papa's form. Mataji immediately smiled from the seriousness. She smiled and said, I am talking to him only, Not complaining. But it is for us to understand. Surrender means total, total, total. Miles and miles ahead of us. We should be very clear. So trust, because we have not developed the trust also. We may say so. Any slight thing, upsets us. And in the spiritual journey, whatever may be the outer guidance or teaching, one has to leave everything behind and independently try to go to the source. Somewhere else, one Mahatma said, when we meet a master, we are inspired by his presence, his writings, his teachings, the way he lived, and finally, how he transmitted something to us. That is why we don't know that even. We are not even aware of the transmission. But when we start applying, why am I attracted? That means there is an inner alignment. They have been able to open up what is inside us. Some part, maybe not 1% of our original reality. They were able to kindle and just open. That is why we feel comfortable, we feel joyous, we feel inspired, we feel enthusiastic, we feel excited in their company. So actually, it is not though the instrumental cause was the outer form. We get attuned to it because the inner thing has been touched and kindled. This aspect, normally it will not strike to us. So we look at the Mahatma, look at his teaching, read his teaching, master his teachings. We live with him, but still we are nowhere near the ultimate. Because all our activities have been extrovert. Whereas the master keeps on hammering this. So whatever may be whatever we may hear, the created, what is that? Created world to the uncreated void, manifested part and the base, which is not palpable, which is not seeable, which is not knowable, which is knowable, no doubt, no? which cannot be seen. The space cannot be seen, no. We have only understood to understand the space with its contents. Contents are in a space. That is how we look at it. We never learned that, first of all, there should be space, then only contents can come. No. We feel the first the contents only. And if at all somebody says about the space, then slowly our intellect keeps on trying, and yes, it's correct. But first we are carried away by the manifested part only. And it becomes an intellectual exercise if we hear it and then go. But if it touches us, behind every manifested, created world, there is that uncreated void. This is something, only nobody can give this balance to us. We do the attempts, and so many times we fail, we forget, we fall, we get bruises. But still, with perseverance, when we keep on, one day the balance comes. Where from it has come? Has somebody given to us? No. It takes a lot of time to touch and kindle this faculty lying dormant in us, and it comes out. It becomes expressive because of all these processes. So similarly, in this, all outer this thing may be able to satisfy us to some extent, but what is the most important thing is we must go within. Leave everything behind and independently try to go to the source. During the centenary, we will try to dwell on how Papa could do that. Very often, every now and then you can find he is withdrawing himself from the outer environments to solitude, where he is undisturbed. Whether it is in the cave or in the cemetery or graveyard, or in a forest, uninhabited, where people are not there. Purpose was to get stabilized in that uncreated void. And then next moment he has not retired fully, and that is why his way of expressing renunciation is totally different from what we have conceptualized before. It is only an expansion, not relieving anything. Previously we were limiting, now it is not, it becomes unlimited. A process, it is not that we do it knowingly, it's a process. So the important message he gives us is independent self-inquiry. That is how our master scaled the heights. Where is rest, where is peace? To him, that was the way in which the inward journey started. He was not asking anybody outside. It was purely an inward journey. He was blessed with the vision or awareness that he is there. To him, to whom he can plead, appeal, cry, and he did it. And that he first called it as the great void. We have to reread, then only we try to understand this. It is purely not from anything outside. Whereas we have been, why we are not progressing to the extent to which we are expected to? Because we are depending upon the external factors. Whereas our Guru keeps on telling us that go within, go within, go within. His life is a practical demonstration. Ramdas never joined any organization for his spiritual growth. Guru within him mysteriously guided him and made everything easy for God realization. Then he found that the best rules to be followed were those which his inner Guru set for him from time to time. It is clear that our guide in such matters must be the Guru within us and not without. Emphatic, clear. There is no ambiguity. So first we get in touch with him. His personality draws us. Then we go a little deeper into his words, teachings. And then we look at his life. How from the individual level he makes us to realize that it should be from a wider angle. And finally, what is it that he has touched and kindled in us? So these three stages, And the final one, that Mahatma who repeated these words, he says, we should first see the final one, not the other two or three. Final one is what he has touched and kindled in me. Then slowly we find he is within us. The Guru within, no? He said, just now Papa said Guru within. So when we go to the highest, that is what he has touched and kindled in us, that stays with us. So the Guru has taken his seat inside. And then every now and then we consult, we can complain to him, we can seek clarifications, offer our doubts, our challenge, so anything. So the first thing is to somehow concentrate on what he has touched and kindled in us. Kindly think about it. Then our relationship with Papa becomes more intense, more closer. What is it that he has touched and kindled in us? Only that person will know. Nobody else will know. It is different from person to person. The dimensions he has touched and kindled might differ from, though outer thoughts and words are same for everybody, what he touches and kindles is purely internal. For example, we used to feel the moment we had the first darshan of Puja Mataji and staying here for a couple of days, when we left, there was no advice from Mataji, there was nothing, no instruction. But she allowed us to go to sit in her room for nearly 1 hour, 2 hours, and indirectly make us to watch her probably. But when we took leave of her after that first darshan, after 2 days, it was very, very clear to us what she conveyed. Under the banner of spirituality, you may do anything, but what is more important is to reach a stage where there is absence of otherness is there. She did not vocally say that. Whatever spiritual practices you are doing, you may do, but what is more important is to reach the state of absence of otherness. Let that be clear in you. When we took leave of her, she did not utter any word, you should do this, you should do that, have you gone to the Samadhi Mandir, have you, nothing like that. Do this much of Ram Nam, nothing, not a single word. You take initiation, nothing was there. But with a heart full of some feelings, we came out And then it was becoming clearer and clearer. What is absence of otherness? No? So whatever we do must be pointed towards that. Untold, untold messages. Now when we go through these Mahatma's words, that is what is transmitted to us. Because her life, during the 2 days, she made us to become aware of this truth in her very life. From the tiny, from the, what do you call that, from the subtle to the gross level, from the tiniest to the grossest level, whatever she did, whatever she talked, whatever she made us to watch, it was conveying this, conveying this, conveying this, conveying this. First of all, when we came here, the room was open. Normally, to see the Mahatma, we have to ask somebody, some protocol will be there, Here there is no intermediary. The door was wide open. Absence of otherness. What else we need to know from that? So this one, she did not utter a word about absence of otherness. She did not talk anything about all these things. She will say in Malayalam, pointing out the moda there. Then she was attending so many things, so many people were coming, she was talking, she was handling so many things. And after an hour or two, she said, now you go to Bhajan Hall. That's all. Evening again we came. So 2 or 3 days, 2 days I think. 2 days, yes. This was our experience. Absolutely there was no dictum, there was no sermon, there was no advice, there was nothing. You should read In Quest of God or something like that. Nothing. You should chant Ram Nam. No. Are you chanting Ram or any name of God? Nothing. Where are you from? There was no single question. She was teaching us what is absence of otherness. That means she doesn't require any prefix or suffix to know us. Equal. We will say, I am somebody, you need a pass. I was told by so and so, so and so. Here there is nothing. And we were seeing it, this is the attitude for her, for anybody who is coming in. They ask, she replies, that's all. At that time, whatever is to be given, she gives, bus. So we are now trying to learn what is the transmission. No?
Perhaps I feel like perhaps by darshan itself, your mind would have become.
We don't know what happened. But with the moment we came out and when we are getting into the vehicle to reach the station, this was very clear. And that was the one which was pulling us, This had happened in 1964. Immediately we went to the office and then became a subscriber to the Vision. A few books, In Quest of God, and a few. Nobody said about In Quest of God, neither Swamiji. Swamiji was busy with his activities, so we spent some time, that's all. Next to our office, there was a present day library. That was Swamiji's office room. He used to go there to give dictation to Ramachandran. Otherwise, he'll be busy with so many things. See, people come here. In between, we get some time, so spend about 1 hour or something like that. Swamiji also talks very less. So what is transmitted, that is the one which kept. So now when we read the Mahatma's words, when you go to What is needed is you first concentrate upon what has touched and kindled in you, what has been touched and kindled in you. So that keeps you, that sustains the same tempo. Otherwise, after some time, the euphoria gets evaporated. Is also one among. So we seriously think about it. So here also, that's why we said, please note that in the spiritual journey, whatever may be the outer guidance or teachings, one has to leave everything behind and independently try to go to the source. And 2-3 days back, we read out, what Nisargadatta Maharaj said. That was also repeated. Because he said that, in the first few lines you will read. Have you ever really given thought to the essential nature of man? Forget what you have read, what you have been told. Have you given any independent thought to this question? I repeat, independent, quiet, thorough, deep. What are the essentials to which you consider as you? So this independent inquiry, which later on we feel, it was made possible because of the transmission. There was something got fused between, the inner urge and the outer source. Otherwise, people meet when the outer life is there. Normally, we like that person. When the care and concern is expressed, we naturally like that person. But we don't go deep into it. Surface level, it will be there. Come back. But this transmission, what has taken place, that keeps us alive to the something that is there originally in us. So these are all the important thoughts today Papa made us to dwell on. The first was on the created world and the uncreated void. As a spiritual aspirant, we are expected to recognize both. To recognize both, probably we may have to withdraw a little from the created so that the total absorption will be there. Just like when we go for an orientation course, we try to be away from the normal run of things. When we go to school or college, we are free from this common run of that is taken care of by somebody else, our parents, our friends. Because our whole concentration will be on that particular one. In that way, we can say the withdrawal. Next one was about the grace. And third was one about the concentration, focused attention. And then faith, trust, and surrender. Faith should evolve into trust. And the trust gets settled with surrender. That is what Papa has shown in his life. Initially there was faith. It evolved into trust. Because he heard the inner voice telling, trust me. That is in his own, So faith got evolved to trust. And the trust made him to get connected with him, with the inner indweller. That means surrender. So these are some of the things, again and again, we have to keep on bringing into our, so that while chanting Ram Nam, if these dimensions are there at the subconscious level, we will be moving towards the source of all sources. Hari Om. Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, 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 Jai Jai Ram Om. Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om.